hormone levels would be at, their testosterone levels as well. So it's not like, again, old Bubba's throwing on a wig and calling himself Betty and then playing tennis. Like, girl, that's not what's happening.
Well, no, but I think that a lot of people, especially a lot of the people who are making these kind of fusses, that's exactly what they're picturing. They're like, well, we just know. It's like the argument, again, about the bathrooms is like, well, these men could just put on a wig and sneak into the bathroom and pretend to be this and that. And it's like, nobody does that.
Nobody does that.
And
ever.
by the way, all of the assault that has happened in bathrooms is by straight men.
Exactly.
I mean, they're usually elected to Congress, but...
and there's that girl.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't throw stones, bitch, because, well, you're out tapping your foot under stalls, homie. So let's not talk about trans children.
Just saying.
And so the biggest point is that, like, this degrades all women. All women. So you're just really good at your sport and you happen to have a swagger like a man and they're going to accuse you of being trans. Now we're saying trans is a bad thing because it's an accusatory statement.
Yeah.
You're trans. So now it's a demonized thing. But now you're going to use it as, like, this person who's just good at her job. So you're policing all women's bodies. You're just now policing all women's bodies to make sure they are feminine enough to compete with other women. And the whole idea of, well, they have elevated testosterone. That's not true. We're discussing, like, college down potentially, but not even that high. Because when you get higher, Olympics, NCAA, the IOC, which are all, again, regulated organizations, you have to, everyone gets tested, you know, to make sure you're not doping up, doing like steroids. Right. But everyone gets tested. And so there are currently trans Olympians who compete with the gender that they identify as. Why? Because the Olympic, association has not only gone through, like, all of their medical checks, but, like, made sure their hormones were what they needed to be. Understood that these people are the gender that they identify as. And so it changes. It's not, again, like your PE coach, Mr. Boomberg, going to go throw on a wig and compete in weightlifting in the Olympics. Like, this person has taken hormone therapy, has been cleared by doctors, has been cleared by the Olympic institution. But that's not the same for grade school children. That's not the same for high school children. Like, they're playing on a school sports team. Like, it's not that serious. And yes, you can get scholarship, but let's not pretend that women... Okay, so there are volleyball players in the United States who are 6'3", who are assigned female at birth, cisgendered heterosexual women. And then there are volleyball players... That's
impossible.
Right.
That does not happen.
I have known volleyball players who are from... I knew this girl from Beijing, China, and she was 5'6", and she was a cisgendered heterosexual woman from China. Their body types were just increased. She was 5'6", and the other girl was like 6'4". So it was a huge difference. But they were both women. No one ever accused them of being trans. They're just different women from different places, right? And that's biological diversity is real, but it happens all the time. Let's talk about Michael Phelps, who is, like, one of the most decorated Olympians ever, who has a longer wingspan, more of, like, a webbing between his hands and feet, and no one ever said he shouldn't swim. No one ever said that until I started smoking weed, and the people were like, you shouldn't swim.
Oh, God. And that's another thing. I mean, because if you think about it, in the Olympics, the black woman who was disqualified because she smoked weed.
Oh, my God, right?
Because she was trying to deal with the loss of her mother. And so she smoked weed, which, by the way, is legal where she was.
Exactly.
And, you know, and she was disqualified. Yet the woman this year, who was found to be taking some sort of steroid that she says was, you know, it was prescribed by her doctor for something that she had, but it also was the kind of steroid that would help you in your performance. And they were like, oh, well, but it was prescribed by a doctor, so that's okay.
Exactly.
But the black girl who smoked some weed, no, get her out.
No. And so...
Racist much?
No. Yes. But a lot of the issues, people are like, these trans kids are dominating their sport. No, they're not. No, they're not. There's no trans person dominating their sport right now. Right. They're just equally as good. And so, like, my example that I just have one is we're talking about Leah Thomas, the new trans swimmer. She hasn't dominated her sport. She has won 5th and 8th, like, respectively in her events, right? And the Olympic Association has now said that they they're stoked that she's going to represent the United States in the 2024 Olympics in France. They've already gone through everything.
Right.
She has to go through hormone therapy, all of it. So in the end, just to sum this up and we'll move on, when you are against trans athletes, it's transphobic. It's degrading to literally every other person who's playing that sport. It is problematic, and before you have anything to say about it, I would want you to do your due diligence and research, again, what hormones do to a body. And not, oh, it's horrible for you. But again, if you're taking estrogen, it's moving the fat around, it's decreasing muscle size within 3 to 6 months. So it's not, again, like you have the same strength you did prior.
No, absolutely not.
So I just would want you to think about that and think about everyone who has anything to say about it. Someone you know, someone who you've been around, someone you work with is queer and or trans. And all they know now is that you are not the person that they think they can go to and open up to and say anything about because you're being problematic and transphobic. That's all.
Well, on that note, I think that we shall go to a little short break here. We are back, and if you just joined us, well, what the hell are you doing?
I know.
Why are you late?
And why are you like 10 minutes into it? Like, I'll listen now.
We are 20 minutes in.
We're 20 in.
Yeah,
oh,
because you're little, I'm going to say this little brief thing.
Girl, my
Turned us into
tirade.
20 minutes. Well, listen.
It's important.
It's very important. I know that like I said, I just had this conversation this weekend with my sister-in-law who was saying, well, I don't know how I feel about that. And one of the points that my husband made is, well, one, why do you have to have any kind of feeling about it?
Yeah.
You don't. Unless it directly affects you, unless you are a trans person and going, I want to get into this sport, what do I need to do?
Exactly.
If you're not that person, then it doesn't affect you.
You know what's funny to me too is rarely is it like the teammates or the people they're playing against.
No.
It's never that. It's always the coaches or the school staff or the parents or whoever throwing a fit about it. Or people who are not related to it at all.
It's usually the fandom. Let's face it.
Because like, again, about the issue that happened, or the current topic of Leah Thomas, I believe that's her name. Anyway, I've been asked a number of times already, like, I need help understanding. And but like, so now everyone is commenting on this girl's transition in her life and her swimming, and I'm just like, how, Jesus God, like that is a lot of attention to get just for swimming.
Do you know what I need to understand? How anybody can do the shit that these people do in their fields. How Serena Williams or Venus Williams can be that amazing at what they do. How Michael Phelps can swim like a freaking
I think
fish.
he was like genetically modified.
I think that he was. But that's what I was like, that's the part that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Is anybody who can be that amazing
talented
in their field and just totally kick ass. And you're like, are they superhuman? What is happening here? Because that's how it feels. But have I ever worried about what's in their pants?
Never, ever.
No.
Why would you care, right? It's
Although, to be fair, there was one time where one particular swimmer was standing on the little platform in there, and I was like, your little swim trunks barely cover what you have in your pants. So,
honey, I can see all of you. I'm not your doctor. This isn't a brat.
I mean, right. I could do a checkup through the television screen because we do have the high def.
Are we dating now? I think we're about to get married.
Oh my God.
That's so
yeah,
funny.
the whole thing. Well, it is reminiscent to me, and we had this conversation as well over the weekend as to, because my niece had asked me, she's like, what is this stuff about RuPaul being transphobic?
I'm a horrible white woman.
And it's like, well, here's how that started. Because many years ago, when asked in an interview, would she allow trans queens on her show? And she basically said no. That's the short answer. Because, they have some unfair advantage, blah, blah, blah. And I don't remember her exact words. It doesn't matter. I don't care. And then when asked, more about it, she doubled down on it and was like, no, I wouldn't, because this is the art form and blah, 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 which is so freaking stupid because the art form has included trans women since the beginning of the art form.
Yep.
Yep. And so
the reason you have a pride is because of trans women.
Right.
Straight up. Marshall B. Johnson.
But they say, they have an unfair advantage because what?
Because what?
Because they don't have to shave. That's not necessarily true.
No.
Because they don't have to tuck. That's not necessarily true. Because they have their own boobs. That's also not necessarily true. I know a lot of trans women who have hardly any boobs.
Or they're curvier.
Or yes. I know it is the exact same spectrum as it is for cisgendered women.
Exactly.
I know several cisgendered women who have tons of facial hair who have to shave.
Yeah.
It's all of the things, and it's not any kind of advantage to say, well, you've been living as a woman, so I'm sorry, you've been a drag queen for how long? If you're any good at your job, then you don't need whatever advantage you think these people have. And it's always the fandom.
Always.
It's never
the other people.
It's not the other queens. Although in one of the other countries I was watching, which one was it? Was it Holland? The person that won the second season is a trans woman. And one other person, and I think they brought it up because it was one of those moments where the producers were prodding at them going, ask her about, her unfair advantage. Yep. Because they were friends outside of this competition.
Yeah.
And so it's not as if she's suddenly going, hey, friend that I've worked with for many years, it just occurred to me that as a girl, you have an easier time of getting in drag. And it's like,
tasteless.
And it is. It's stupid and whatever. It's like, listen. First of all, drag is... I like the phrase I've been hearing a lot, is drag's for everyone. Mm-hmm. Drag is not just cisgendered boys putting on pantyhose, blocking out their eyebrows and doing whatever. And even that now has changed so much because it used to be, there was this kind of ABCs of you had to wear padding, you had to block out your eyebrows, you had to do this and that and the other thing. And now... it's kind of everywhere. I've seen queens who don't wear any padding whatsoever.
Who have a full beard.
I've seen, queens with a full beard. I've seen, there's a queen in particular that I like in Chicago who has a full beard and doesn't have any, doesn't even try to pretend to look like a cisgendered woman. No. Because she's not.
There's also cisgendered men who just have surgeries. To look, you know what I mean? Look like they don't need to pad anymore. My girl Detox.
And Chad Michaels, not body surgery, but she's had so much stuff done to her face because she's an aging queen and doesn't want to look like she's aging. And I can only say that because she has talked about it. Because, it's not my place to spill her tea. But, yes, there's lots of queens who... But it's like the point is... anybody can be a drag queen. Just like anybody can be an athlete. And it's not your business.
No. I feel like that's the thing, is people... the issues, right? Is we're seeing that, you don't have boobs or hips or you have facial hair or whatever, and that makes you not a woman, right? So now we're thinking of all these things that make you, it's essentialism, right? So you're thinking, a woman has these things. A woman has long hair, no facial hair, soft skin, boobs, hips, quackity, quackity, quack. That's not always true. Again, how many women have we met who don't have boobs, who don't have hips, who have facial hair, who don't have hair? Do you know what I mean? The list goes on. So my point is that to say things like, you don't look like a girl because you don't have boobs, or you don't look like a girl because I can see that you have to shave, or whatever the case may be, you are feeding into this stupid heteronormative idea that women have to look a certain way, that men have to look a certain way. But why are we still there?
As an older person, I am going to say that
old ass person is what she meant.
As an old ass bitch, I'm trying to say that is actually one of the things that helped me understood. Oh,
bitch, what? Whose birthday are it?
Gerp, it helped me understood.
Girl, go back to
Because all of a sudden I'm hillbilly.
All of a sudden?
Shut up. It helped me understand the whole gender is a construct because you can't say any one thing is masculine or any one thing is feminine. Because I know women who, assigned female at birth women who... at any kind of distance, you would go, that's a man. Yep. And that doesn't make them any less
woman. That's a man, Maury.
That's a man, Maury. Because one of my roommates early on in my life, I lived with a lesbian couple. And
what?
Yes, I know lesbians. They're everywhere.
Lesbian.
I know, lesbians. And one of them was probably the most manlier than most men I knew.
Okay.